Okay, Jesus H. Christ, chapter 13. Peter played a few beautiful songs on his trumpet as the crowd made themselves comfortable on the hill. When they were attentive and waiting for my words, I stood up and told them an analogy about a woman that sowed seeds everywhere she went. Some fell on rock and didn't take root, some among thorn bushes and were choked out at the roots. Some fell on arid land, and the young plants were burnt by the sun. But my words are not my words. They are everyone's words, and I have had the luck of being born curious, like an animal, and lucky enough to live in relative freedom. And my family could afford to send me to school, and later university. I spent 14 years studying the religion of our forefathers, the religions Rome has collected, and the beliefs from the West and the East. The University of Rome had great minds from around and the known world, and we all came to the same conclusion. People from all over will believe any trash you sell them as long as you kill those who don't. But these are laws of men, written by men for men, propagated by men in holy dress and metal swords. Their law is a lie. Their noble commandments are all bloody obvious. Anyone can figure out not to murder. Anyone could if they weren't always a soldier fighting their neighbors. I have come to you sowing the word of hope. Put it in your language so we will never forget, so that in 2,000 years they can read about a time and a place where the seed took root and we started to believe in us. Let me tell you a story of when I was a young man. I was going to Cairo to study, and before I went, my father Joseph, I waited for a few people to laugh, took me to my grandparents. Grandpa Jacob was one of my favorite grandparents as a child. He understood me and I understood him. We sometimes did math problems together, things grown-ups in university needed to learn. Dad suspected I was a clever boy, so I wasn't too surprised that Grampy and I liked working on theoretical problems. The Torah was the ultimate question for me, but I've told you that story. Dad and I were walking on the beach having a conversation when I mentioned I had a sore on my lip, and if I had the salve my friend often had, the sore would go away before it broke open and became painfully annoying. About 40 steps after my not so accurate description, I saw a small jar of salve on the rock. There it is! Well, I didn't stop to think, and my dad watched as I skimmed the top layer of the salve off and wiped it on a rock. Then I took a fresh bit, never having seen the air, and put a little on the corner of my lip. What's the chances of that? I don't know, but I'm glad it was sitting there. When we got back to the house, my father told grandfather about what had happened. And you still don't believe in the God of our fathers? Nope, I can't believe. Well, my grandfather smiled like he is now as I tell the story. He smiled like he knew that though my road was not short, I would travel the one set down for me. And I always remember this smile. Then I thought he might have thought to himself, he will find God. I didn't find the God of Moses. I found me, and life forced me to do it. Every time I attempted to run in a different direction, life beat at me until I returned to being true to my own heart. And that's where I found God. God wasn't a scary monster that killed the enemy and our own bad people. God was right inside. This, my dear friends, is a secret to the kingdom of God. Each and every one of us has God in us. It is our will. And with our will, we will be real gods. It won't be today. Today we are angels, and we are young angels, but we are also as old as the universe, and I'm going to get a friend of mine up here. You may remember he had a crippled hand in the synagogue. Some people laughed while they applauded Carl. No one asked where he came from. They watched his every move and hung on his every word. They were stunned to hear the earth was neither flat nor the center of the universe. They were just as stunned when Eckstein came out of the crowd and started talking mathematics to show that the stars were evidence that the universe was much older than the start of man's writing. Truth will tear you from your shackles and set your mind free. When your mind is free, the universe is yours. I went up to close out the meeting and I heard my stomach rumble. We have had much food for thought, but we can't live with thought alone. Let us eat together. Talk among yourselves. Feast on life. Jesus, how do we eat? Use your fingers like everyone else.